had like a hand in all of these like proxy wars. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if like there were Canadian boots on the like Canadian military boots on Vietnam. I don't know. I don't know if there were, but I wouldn't be surprised. But I've never heard of it. I've never personally heard of it, and that's just purely because it's not as popular of a narrative. It is mostly America versus Russia, America versus North Korea, and America versus this place, that place, this place, and it's never like America and Canada or like NATO. It's only recently become more of like, yeah, NATO's doing this. Like, it's the entirety of NATO kind of working together. But I think that's a change of the people more than anything, where they're trying to like basically garner sympathy for like NATO working together. Like, all of NATO has to fight Russia. All of NATO has to do this. All of NATO has to do that. Like, they all had to work together as like a globalist movement, which is another thing. God, this entire fucking stream is gonna be raving about politics. But like, I don't like to argue about things. I don't like to argue from a position that I can't defend. I never like to argue from an undefensible position. Every single opinion I ever have, real opinion. There's plenty of like fake opinions I have, like especially when I was on Twitter. I fucking got suspended from Twitter because I just got so heated. It was just me fucking shit posting for like a week, and then I got serious for like a month. There's fucking twin towers. Not even funny. Oh, I'm still pinned. But yeah, I got banned. I got banned because I'm so pissed off about corruption in both American and Canadian. Oh, it's not actually. No, there are. I got confused. I thought this was here. But yeah, I just got so pissed off that I was like, basically, I was unhinged. I get unhinged sometimes. It happens to me. I let my emotions take over, and I said some shit I shouldn't have. I don't even know what I said. I know one tweet that got flagged, and I have no idea what the fuck else I said. and it was basically just, I wish this guy would just drop dead already. That's basically what I said. Like, it was like I wish. Basically, I wish this old man would just be dead. That'd be nice. Like, I wish he'd die of old age already, of natural causes. And natural causes in air quotes, which obviously wasn't very politically correct. Not that I care. That's one thing you'll find out about me is like, whenever I'm me, I couldn't care less. Like, when I say when I'm me, I mean like when I am my honest self. My honest self does not really care. Like, how do I explain this? I was basically taught to be very afraid of other people's opinions, or like saying things that would make people dislike me. When I'm my honest self, I'm like, whenever I think about it, I'm like, yeah, I don't care if people hate me. If people hate me, then they were people I wanted to be around anyways. That's just the basic formula for how I live my life. People that already can be made to not. If somebody doesn't like my opinions that I espouse, imagine if they figure out what else I think. Because I'm wild. That's why I call myself. That's why my description on Twitch is like I call myself a madman, because I am kind of a madman. I'm very politically incorrect, etc., etc. But yeah, besides the point. But yeah, I'm kind of fired up because like because I'm hopeful for the first time in years. Like I thought the Canadian government was never gonna fix its shit. I thought we were just gonna slowly deteriorate forever. Wait, what? These two connect to the same place. What? What? No. What? Sorry, I'm losing my mind. What? Oh no, these. Sorry, my brain. Oh, okay. I thought this was going to the same place. I literally lost my shit. But yeah, I'm fired up. I'm actually hopeful. Which is a goddamn surprise. Because like honestly, I used to think, okay, there's a woman I saw on Twitter called like Carrie or something, Carrie Lake, and she was talking about how she was basically approached by somebody trying to bribe her, and she said, "No, fuck that," and like, that's amazing. Like that's. But when was the last time you've heard of somebody that has proof that somebody tried to buy them come out and say it? That's like borderline suicidal. And you can't sugarcoat it. It's true. Like that requires some balls. That requires some massive cojones. Some fucking steel some steel testicles. I'm describing a woman right now. But no, like you. I've never seen anybody do that. Like, okay, yes, there have been a few cases, but like, that's major. That's major for that to happen, and then there'd be proof. Because I don't know if there's ever been like proof, but like the person that she recorded that bribed her stood down out of office. He didn't deny it, which means he probably did it. Like, if there was a case to be made, he would have made it, usually. Because otherwise it's just defamation. If it's a lie, it's defamation. But like he is not willing to take it to court and to be proven in a court of law who've actually done this. Like, as so far it's just evidence and allegations, which is a lot safer for a politician than crucifying themselves. Like, he has enough rope to hang himself, and he's smart to not actually kick the chair out from under him. Well, yeah, that's got me freaking hopeful. For the first time in my entire life, I'm actually hopeful that there will be politicians that aren't just here to make things worse for us. Ow. I just stepped back and almost got myself killed. I need to back up from this guy so I can heal myself. But yeah, you get like you combine that with my my hatred of liars. And yeah, I spent I literally complained about like there being politics in the Twitter, and then I ended up it's just because I was reading stuff. Because like I was actually trying to get like a litmus test of like Canadian American politics, like where this election season is going. Like Americans now, Canadians later. Like I think next year's Canada. But yeah, I fucking went off because I was excited, and I was seeing all these people lie about like shit, and like I said, I can't tolerate people that think they're right. That's basically the crux of my personality. I can't tolerate people who think they're right and that they'll always be right. Like that is the single easiest way to piss me off. and to get me to start acting like an idiot, which is what I did. I definitely kept one upping myself until I got banned. Uh, which is fair. Like I cannot deny that it was a fair ban. I said some fucked up shit at times. The funny thing is that I'm pretty sure I got flagged by an artificial intelligence, and then that made them look at the rest of the tweets, which was just responses of me like telling people they're fucking stupid. Like, cause like I said, I don't tolerate people like that. I never can. I can never tolerate anybody that thinks they're correct, that their opinion is the only one that matters. Like anybody who believes that about themselves, is just waiting for me to go off. Oh, I didn't level up this, did I? No, I did not. Heal. Shield, you're still right next to me. This is in the correct order, I don't think it is. You. Give me a second. God, I hope the stream doesn't get flagged because my uncle's listening to music on his phone. Where was I? Yeah, obviously I was going off. I don't even want to think about some of the shit I was talking about. But yeah, and like obviously, like literally every tweet that I saw that was like somebody being like not completely honest, and that's the thing, is that like if you want to think that your opinion's right, go ahead. But it's when that you think your opinions, when you can't support your own opinion with the whole truth. Like like there's times, especially in politics, where like you can't support your opinion with false information or like incomplete information. Like it's all half truths. Like there's like people saying that like the Republican. This is American. I'm talking about American politics for this example. That the Republicans are the reason that the border's open. They're like they could have closed it, and I'm like the fucking president of the United States is the one that opened it in the first place. That he is the one responsible. Like he is currently cock blocking Texas from defending their own borders. He is willfully he is willingly allowing this to happen in the first place. Like why the fuck would it? Why would the responsibility go to somebody else? And the only reason that is because that's what they're told to believe. And I hate it. Like it's so many people that just do not think. Like these are the same. Okay, this is the reason. This is how I grew up to become like this. When I was 4 or 5 years old, like one of my first my first Christmas, my grandfather. This is why I always use the Santa example or Santa Claus example for if I don't believe in anything. I don't believe in anything that people just tell me without actually thinking about it myself. But my grandfather was dressed up as Santa Claus, and now obviously, I'm not a fucking retard. I'm not mentally retarded. That's not me trying to be mean to people that are. But I'm saying like, how wouldn't I notice that that's my grandfather? And like everybody looked at me as if I had 3 heads. Like my own mother who brought me to this like breakfast with Santa, because like the entire town is basically like all of their kids are here, and all their kids are hearing me talk about like my grandfather's dressed up as Santa Claus. Why is Santa wearing my grandfather's glasses? And then I hear my grandfather's voice say, "Oh no, I'm not your grandfather. I'm Santa Claus." And I'm just like, "You're full of shit." In the back of my head, obviously I don't say that, because I didn't talk like that until I became like 13 years old. I didn't start swearing until then. What's it shit? Oh, like shit. If shit's a swear word, then like anything's a swear word. Like fecal excrement is a swear word at that stage. Like words are getting meaning by the people that say them and people that hear them. And never mind. But yeah, basically like that's my example. I was like 5 or 6 years old and I figured this out. Like how are people like in like how are people like 20 years old plus and don't realize any of this shit? Like it's not about like what's right and what's wrong or what you believe in. It's about recognizing being lied to. That's all that I care about. It's spreading lies and believing lies that bother me to such an extent. Oh, this is the wrong. I was putting Abyssal Shield. I don't even have it on. Yeah, max out Demonic Blood because it also scales off of, or Abyssal Shield scales off of Vim. This increases my Vim and increases my damage combined with my Vim. Also increases my spell power. Yeah. But yeah, it's when you lie. Like you can have your opinion and speak nothing but the truth, and I'll be like, yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. But it is when you lie. I'm trying to get this up to 4 so I can silence people. But that's the thing. It's like just don't lie. Just oh no, that is right. Just don't lie, and you don't have people like me who hate you. Like I said, I don't care if somebody has an opinion. Like that doesn't bother me at all. It's when it's when their position is sourced in lies that my entire body reacts. I have been doing this for years. I've been telling people my own age. There's somebody who was 18 years old, or not 18 years old. We were like both 15 years old, I think. No, it was grade 8. Yeah, I was about 12 or 13. No, I was definitely 13 when this happened. It's complicated because I was born late in the year, so I have to remember every single time, like when I started school, like what age I started school to do the mental arithmetic. But yeah, like we were both 13 years old, and she still believed in Santa Claus. I had not believed in Santa Claus for 6 fucking years, at least at that point. And I saw her believing in Santa Claus and saying the phrase, "My parents wouldn't lie to me." And yeah, I wasn't a nice kid. Like, like you. It was also because I was so mistreated that I hated everybody and I wanted everybody to hate me. That was the mindset I had at that age because I had just been that fucked up. But I saw her, or not saw her, I heard her hear that. Fucking brain, please, for the love of God. I heard her say that, and every instinct told me that she was stupid. Every instinct. And it's my fault because I shouldn't have expected that people that young, like I have like a 15-year-old cousin that still believes in Santa Claus. I really shouldn't have done that. I acknowledge that I shouldn't have done that. I acknowledge that I was in the wrong. But like, if you're an adult, I have no sympathy. Kids, but to be fair, the only reason that I had that sort of perspective when I was that age was entirely due to my circumstances. It's not the excuse, but it's the cause. It's not an excuse. It's not excusing. It is literally. I've apologized to that the girl I'm referring to. Well, it's a woman now. She's a year younger than me, I think, a year and a half. I haven't met her since high school, but yeah, like my entire life I've based around. I basically see people as, and especially as an adult, I see people based on whether or not they question things. And it's like the word sheep. Like if I see you as a sheep, like it's not about forming your own opinion. It's not about being wrong or right. It's about not forming your own actual opinion. And like, yeah, people who don't form their own opinions about anything and just listen to like people they don't know. Like anybody who listens to people they don't know, they don't personally know. And it's basically a chain of effects. Like you can have somebody you trust that is listening to somebody they trust who's getting it. Like it could be like from like some fucking like massive like chain of bullshit, like a game of telephone, where it's people that are wrong sourcing it from somebody who was right at one point. And it's just a game of telephone. Sometimes it's a game of telephone. Sometimes it's people intentionally being told the wrong information. It could be any number of things. But it's always the people who are like, well, who told you that? Who made you have that opinion? That is the most insulting thing anybody can ever say to another person, in my opinion. If you say the phrase, like, oh, who told you that? Like, what scientist told you that? Like, what scientist told you to not trust medicine? What scientist told you that medicine can be flawed? What medicine can have side effects? It's like, you don't need that. You don't need evidence. Evidence is to prove something. It is not to form an opinion. You don't need proof for an opinion. You need proof for a fact. And the thing is that you can have false proof. You can have false positives in medicine. Like, people lie. Scientists can lie. Doctors can lie. Dentists can lie. Everybody can lie. Police can lie. If you don't think the police can lie, well, I have a group of people. They're called. Sorry, I can't even say it. Oh. Oh. I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. We have these people called like. I'm just gonna go by name. You have people like 50 Cent. You have people like. Oh my god, off the top of my head. You have people like Dr. Dre, like NWA. I can't say N words with attitude. Like oh my god, but sorry, give me a second. I need to figure out which rapper I'm trying to think of. I've forgotten a lot of things, and it's been a while since I've listened to this guy's music, so I need to remember it. Because I've just let it like settle in my brain. Pyroclastic Flow. By Ice Cube? Oh, it is Ice Cube, yeah. I would have already said Ice Cube. Fuck. But yeah, you got people like Ice Cube, like all these people. Like, if you ask them, or like Kendrick Lamar, like you ask like 90% of black rappers, or maybe not 90%, but like most of the old guard of black rappers, like guys who are like in their 40s or 50s at this point, maybe even older. I'm not entirely sure. Like 40s to 60s area. You ask these guys if they trust the police. There's literally a song called "Fuck the Police." Like, people lie. People in positions of power aren't good people. Not all of them. The only profession that I believe, and this is a bias, this is I 100% admit this is a bias. The only profession that I acknowledge as never having bad people, truly bad people in it, is firefighters. That's because my great uncle, my grandmother's brother, is a firefighter. I was saved by firefighters. Well, okay. The firefighters, because obviously my uncle was, or my great uncle, I'll just call him my uncle. My uncle helped a search and rescue mission. Basically, had all the firefighters out looking for me. I almost froze to death. When I almost froze to death, when I was 16. Yeah. So I implicitly trust firefighters. That is the only profession that I wholly trust. Lawyers, liars, not all of them. Obviously I'm painting with brush, massive strokes, but firefighters are the only ones that I would never distrust. They have earned my complete and utter faith. I've heard of ambulance drivers that have had car accidents. Were the cause. I've heard of drunk driver paramedics. I mean, also there's firefighters that have drunk drive before, but that's besides the point. But if somebody told me oh yeah, that you can't trust firefighters, that there's a lot of drunk drivers, that there's a lot of alcoholics. That's a better way to phrase it. Because obviously if there's still a paramedic, or if there's still a paramedic driver, they're not gonna have a DUI. At least they shouldn't. They probably don't have a driver's license after that. Not normally. Not They wouldn't normally be allowed to drive an ambulance if that was the case. But if somebody said that about a firefighter, yeah, he has a habit of being drunk and belligerent, I'd be so. That is the one bias I've created, because they've earned my trust. They have earned my trust until that trust is what's the word? Compromised? Until that trust is compromised. Oh, Buster. Until I have a reason not to trust them, I will trust them for the rest of my life. Because they've earned that. I don't believe, especially where I used to live in my hometown, I don't believe there's a single bad firefighter. And what kind of power does a firefighter have? I'm serious. What do they have power over? The fire hose? They're responsible for saving lives, but how do you abuse the position of being a firefighter? How evil would you have to be to abuse that position? You have to be pretty fucking evil. I don't deny that somebody can be a chief of the fire department and use that position to a great example. And I don't know if this actually happened, or it's just a story I've read. But I don't know if it's a book that I was reading, or if it was based on a true. There's a phrase for this, based on a true story. But there's the story about a chief of the fire department who basically delayed his own response team to fires that were intentionally made to destroy property, so that property could be insured, or for insurance fraud. What's another example of what I heard? And again, I don't even think this is. It might be based on true stories, but where I actually heard this was on a TV show or something. Oh no, not when enemies are visible. Not when available, please, brain. When out of combat, thank you. But but it's like insurance fraud. It's for people that want to like steal property, because obviously if you burn down somebody's property, you could buy it for cheap. Stuff like that. And like, yeah, I acknowledge the fact that they do have a position where they could abuse it, but like that's a case by case basis. And on the other hand, like you have police officers where I'm like, I don't implicitly trust police officers because they are okay. The main reason I don't trust police officers is because you have a very high likelihood. This is actually really good boots. The only thing that I don't like about them is the fact that they'll reduce my HP by 80. Yeah. I think it's worth it though. Let's relax, little buddy. But yeah, like police officers, you have the situation where they're like 90% of officers can be boiled down into two camps. Is people who are just doing their job, like who are just like by the books, do it by the rules, like don't question, just do your job. Like people that don't want to get fired. Like most police officers don't want to get their ass fired. And then, this is talking about the reason that I don't trust police officers, is that the other, however much percent, like I'd say 80% of police officers do it by the book, and it's their job. They're more worried about the job than anything else. And so that's how most jobs work. And it wouldn't surprise me if I'm correct about that. And then you have, like, that's 80%. And then you have 10% of people that actually want to abuse the power. And then the other 10% are the honest good cops. The honest, like, serious, like, I question, like, I am willing to be insubordinate if it means doing the right thing. And I think both good and bad cops, truly good and bad cops, are in the minority. I think the cops that are just doing their job and just doing the rules and just doing what they're told without question, that's the majority. And I don't trust people who don't question things. I never have. Like, that's the thing, is that I don't distrust the police because of the bad police. I distrust the police because I distrust the people in power that control the police from on high. I'm more distrustful of the people at the top of the food chain and the people that are just serving those people. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, that literally just like a massive tangent to like try to describe why I hate when people lie about politics, because it's like when it's your country that's at stake and you're worried about like political correctness, you're worried about like being a team player, like voting for the same people over and over again. Like that's how you end up in situations like Nazi fucking Germany, where people just do what they're told. And they just do what they're told forever, in perpetuity. Like, by the time that the German people woke up to the fact that they were controlled by the Nazis, that the Nazi party were evil, it's already too fucking late. Like, even if the entire people rebelled, like, the country was in full force, like, militarily. Like, there were generals in control of their people. Like, they could lie and tell, like, they could say anything to their soldiers at that point. The soldiers, it's a lot easier to lie after telling somebody, or after, and this is actually, I can't remember who told me this, but it's true. Um, it's easier to get somebody to agree with you after they agree with you already, because it builds trust. It's it's the thing with Simon. It's Simon Says. Like it's very easy when you follow the rules of Simon Says to fuck up because you are agreeing or you're doing what that person tells you to do until they change the way that they phrase it. But you don't question it. Most people do not. Like I, if I were to play Simon Says, even I would fuck up because you get complacent. It's complacency. It's et cetera, blah blah blah. Skip to the point, old man. Sorry, this is me making fun of myself. But yeah, you end up in these situations where people are already doing what you tell them, that they have a habit of continuing to do what you tell them. Like when you're already getting people to send the Jewish people to concentration camps or any dissenters to concentration. Well, yeah, it's the best way to explain it is like first they took the Jews, then they took the political opponents, then they took anybody who didn't support the military, they took anybody that made any questions, and like by the time that these soldiers were told to kill people that were their neighbors originally, at that point they'd already it's like a sunk cost fallacy on top of everything else. Like, and they had been trained, like even if they didn't agree, they'd be like, well then I go there. Nobody protected these people that I took when I took them. Why would anybody protect me when they come for me? Like if you're a soldier, you're like, well, if I'm insubordinate, I'm dead. If I do my job, I get to live. And it's this whole sort of conditioning that results in people just doing what they're told. And that's basically the political situation of 90% of the goddamn planet. Is people do what they're told. Like, especially in a democracy. Like, in a democracy, when the people are controlled by the government, it becomes a dictatorship. It stops being a democracy. And that's the fucking most heinous thing ever, is that people don't realize that they're living in a dictatorship. That when the people don't ask questions, you stop controlling the government. The democracy is for elected representatives to represent you. How does somebody represent you when you do what they're telling you to do? How is that a representative of you? Like it's the same thing with like a parent. Like if you're a child and you do everything your parent tells you to, and how do you know without question that your parent has your best interest at heart? And that's not a problem when you have a good fucking family. I had a good family, but I also question things. When people make mistakes, I question them. I trust that when they believe, and I believe, when I agree with them, I can trust them with my life. That's what it means to be in a healthy relationship, where you can actually trust somebody, but also question them. If you can trust somebody without question, then you're an idiot. And you might say that's rude or whatever the fuck, but if it applies to you, then you're fucking stupid. It's the same thing with medicine, it's the same thing with everything. It's the human condition. You need to question things. If you don't question things, who's really in control of you? Like, how can you say that you have freedom if you do what you're told? Like, and it just goes back to my point about, like, It's not a democracy if the people listen to the government and not the other way around. The government is supposed to be controlled by the people. The people aren't supposed to be controlled by the government. The people are supposed to use the government to control each other, basically. That's the foundation. We don't live in a democracy. We haven't lived in a democracy since the two-party state, and this is true about Canada and America. I don't know about the rest of the world. Would any form of democracy cannot afford to have politicians that are controlled by outside people. Like it's majority rules, not minority. It is back to the way that it used to be. When it used to be, it's basically an oligarchy. An oligarchy is when, well, it's a democratic oligarchy, which means that the people who have real power get to decide who's in charge. It's not a democracy. It is not a representative democracy. It can't be. Because if it was, people would be thinking for themselves. People wouldn't need the media to tell them what to think. You wouldn't have state media. You wouldn't have two sides of the media. It's all propaganda. That's the system. The system isn't a democracy. The system is pretending to be a democracy. It is wearing the skin of a democracy. It always has been. Any government that controls its own people is like, and I'm talking about like the majority of people are supposed to control the minority of people, but the government controls everybody. The voters on both sides are being controlled by their side. That means it's not a democracy. And I know I'm just repeating myself, but like I just have to keep saying it because like I looked on like the sentiment doesn't exist. 90% of people do not believe this sentiment. People believe that America, in its current form, is a democracy still, which is hilarious. It is. I see it as the same thing as when people say that Santa Claus is real to me. If a 40-year-old man said Santa Claus was real to me, I would think he's mentally unstable. I would think that he is stupid, that he doesn't understand reality. Because Santa Claus isn't something you can believe in. Like as an adult, you can't like it's not an opinion. Santa Claus being fake and being a story told to children. That's not a question. It's not a religion sort of thing. There's proof. If there was people alive that said like, yeah, we just lied about God, you wouldn't have that religion. Whatever religion that this is referring to, you wouldn't have it. Like if somebody just came out and said like, yeah, our God was never real. You call it a cult. We call those cults where I come from. You call them cults because you can actually disprove the damn things. That it was just a scheme that it came out of nowhere. And again, I don't have a problem with religion. Like, not in the sense of it, like I can coexist with the damn things. They don't bother me at all. They bother me when they push themselves on me and other people like me, but in and of themselves, I don't care. I don't think I ever have. Well, okay, I can't say I never have, because that's just a lie. I used to care a lot more because I was, in my opinion, abused. And my right to self, or my freedom of religion and freedom of belief was taken from me. I was told as a child what to believe. And I believe that should be illegal. It's the same reason that I don't like LGBT activists. Like I said before, like the extreme people, the people that want to foist it on kids. Like I don't. And it's not even kids making their own decisions, because we all know that kids don't make their own decisions. Like nobody in the right mind is giving power to kids, thinking that like, yeah, this is smart. Like give a kid a loaded gun and tell me what happens to that kid. Like give a kid enough rope to hang themselves and see what they do with it, and then get back to me. Then get back to me and tell me that you still believe what you say. Because obviously you're gonna realize you're stupid if you're trusting a kid. Like you can trust certain kids with certain things, but to paint kids with a wide brush and thinking that they're like me, because like if like I used to question like my sexuality and whether or not I wanted to be a boy. Like I did that way before I even knew trans people existed. I thought about it and I critically thought about it, and like I like being able to pee wherever I want. I don't like the idea of periods. I don't like the idea of like giving birth through my dick. Like no, it's obviously like I basically I weighed like would I have preferred to have been born a boy or a girl, and I said boy just because I prefer being a man. Like, and this is a 6-year-old, and I said like yeah I'd rather be like my grandfather, my father, um, etc., than be my mother. My mother's a good person, but I don't want I don't want the back pain of having like these meat sticks. I didn't even know they had weight to them until I was older. Well, I kind of implicitly knew that they had weight because that's the things. Big things have weight. That wasn't really something I questioned. That was just something implicit to reality. But I didn't know about like my mom having back pain or anything, like stuff like that, or breasts giving women back pain or anything. Well, actually, no, I did because I asked what the fuck a bra was. I'm pretty sure I asked what a bra was when I was pretty young. Like, what does this do? And I think my mom did like legitimately just answer with like, yeah, it helps my back. It helps support these so they don't hurt my back as much. That's one of the reasons that bra exists. But that's besides the point. But yeah, like I if I had come to the conclusion that I was gay or that I wanted to be a woman, then I'd want that right. But I also understand that puberty is the most important part of the developing body. You lose bone density. Like your body starts to set in stone if you don't have puberty. You can't delay puberty. It doesn't work. You like your brain develops slower. Like you want to give a kid like you want to delay all the effects of puberty? You can't. Like whoever says that doesn't care about kids. Or has somehow never been a child and understand what going through puberty is like. Or understands anything about the human brain. Or what it's like to be a kid. Like I keep repeating myself, like be a kid, but like it's true. Like you can't understand what it was like going through puberty and then say that you could just delay puberty. Like, and also, how do you know what your sexuality is or what you think about being a boy or a girl until you undergo puberty? It's like yeah, you can be attracted to boys or girls when you're a kid, but like I'm a grown-ass man and I'm straight, and I can understand the appeal of like men. I just don't want to have sex with them. I could be attracted to men. That doesn't mean I want to have sex with them. That doesn't mean I'm gay. Like that's the thing, is that other people are trying to define what children's sexualities are before the kid understands what sexuality is. You can't You can't teach that. How do you learn that? How do you actually learn any of that? Like, honestly, show me on the doll where, or like show me like how you learned what your sexuality was. Like, most people are going to be like, I was a boy and I liked other boys because my pee got hard when I saw other boys. That's how a kid thinks. That is how the human body, the male body works. The body itself reacts to attraction, to sexual attraction. You don't teach that. You don't need to teach people who they want to have sex with. You just wait until they have sex with people. You can just wait. You don't need to teach that being gay is a thing. People say that being gay isn't genetic. Well, people are born gay. Well, is it genetic? Are you predisposed to it? Or do you learn it naturally? You learn it naturally. If gay kids can grow up in a straight house, a straight Christian household, why can't the opposite be true? Why do you need to teach kids at all these things? Let them learn naturally. Teach them actual real world skills, like actual sex ed, like actual biology. Don't waste your fucking time trying to teach them the things that'll come naturally. If if somebody becomes 20 years old and still thinks that they want to be a woman and they're a man, then fucking let them. But if you're 13 years old and you think the same thing, that doesn't mean you come to a conclusion. It means that like your rational brain hasn't formed until you're like 22 from okay, it's not really guaranteed, but even then, like, there's plenty of rational adults in the like 40s that have no fucking idea how the world works. And then you have people like me who've never entered the workforce that, regardless of whether or not they have like real world experiences, can still like have these sorts of opinions when they were like a little kid. But like, you can't judge people like, you can't trust a 15-year-old, like, you can't trust every 15-year-old like you could trust me when I was 15 years old to understand what I cared about. And even then, I didn't even know what I cared about when I was a kid. I had a midlife crisis when I was 15 years old. I didn't know who I was. Like, when I was, like, basically I lost my identity at some point and I had to rediscover it. Like, that's the thing, is that, like, let the kid discover for themselves. Put checks and balances to make sure that they actually believe what they believe and haven't been trained to like you can look, if people can be groomed to be straight, people can be groomed to be gay or trans. Let people discover it themselves. If you care, if you love something, let it go. If you truly care about these kids, you wouldn't try to be telling them what to do. You wouldn't need to tell them what to do, because they would just do it themselves. Like, that's the part that always bothers me. It's like it's just hypocrisy. Like, I would say it's a double standard, but it's like not even a double standard. I wish it was a double standard. But like, what they're trying to do is not trying to make it so all kids have the freedom to choose. They're trying to make it so every kid is forced to choose. That's what it feels like. Like I said, when I grew up in school, nobody taught you to be straight. Like, yeah, when you were home, like, yeah, obviously your parents want you to be like them, but that's just the human nature. But like, teachers didn't tell me not to be gay. Teachers didn't tell me that I was a boy. They didn't need to teach me. I could figure that out for myself. But that's the thing, is that if you give a kid a choice, they can be wrong. People can be wrong. Let these thoughts form naturally. Let them come to their own fucking conclusions instead of just Like, let them ask the question instead of forcing it down their throat. And like I said, like people people shouldn't be able to, on the drop of a hat, get sexual reassignment surgery. That doesn't make any sense. Like how do you, like it's a lifelong commitment. Like especially if you have like any sort of like genital surgery, that's a very sensitive area. Especially if it's like flesh sculpting. I call it flesh sculpting because that's what it is. When you take like parts of somebody's arm to like it's similar to plastic surgery. No, most people don't have a clue, or how do I explain this? Most people don't understand that when you have like breast surgery, like to get breast implants, cosmetic surgery, you get breast implants, you remove the breast tissue and replace it with plastic. Like, and in these cases of genital surgery, most of it isn't plastic. It is not replacing organic material with inorganic material. It is taking organic material and altering it 9 times out of 10, like, from what I've heard and what I've seen. Like it's and people hate it when I say this, but like it's cutting off the penis and it is adding organic tissue from like your arm, because obviously you can't like you can't like dig into a woman's vagina and like grab enough tissue to mold a phallus out of. Because like it's the thing. It's like, well, if you just want plastic, you just buy a dildo. That's the funny thing, is that like if it was as simple as having plastic, which is why they don't do plastic. They don't have pure plastic. They want to be able to feel. Well, you can't really affirm somebody's gender if they don't actually feel anything down there. If they can't feel anything between their legs, if it's literally just completely, if it has no nerves in it, like, well, it's basically as if it's not even there. It's like a phantom limb, except it's actually there. But the thing is that when you take like tissue from the arm, like this is the same sort of treatment that you give to like burn patients. You give them, you'd basically take skin tissue and like subdermal, basically below the skin layer, muscle and stuff, and move it somewhere else while it's still alive and reattach it. But the thing is that that's not erogenous. That tissue. Most of that tissue, and especially the tissue, like especially with like vaginoplasty, or whatever it's called, um, like it's a wound. You're effectively keeping an open wound and trying to prevent your body from closing the wound for long periods of time until your body basically heal. Like the main goal, or the main assumed goal, is that the wound will stop healing in the form that you want it to look like when you give a man a vagina. But the thing is that like, yeah, if I stabbed you in the dick, yeah, you probably aren't gonna be able to have sex anymore. You're probably not going to have as much sexual. It's not going to be very sexually sensitive anymore. Like you're not. Like a lot of these people complain that like, yeah, or the females and the males, it's not erectile dysfunction, but well, actually, yeah, like they can't. They lack sexual arousal. That's the better way to phrase it. Yeah, they lack sexual arousal because, yeah, you kind of, it isn't it's scar tissue. It's tissue from other parts of your body. It doesn't have the same nerves. It's not the same tissue. It's not like just like breast implants. It's not, you don't, like, yeah, you have the surface, like you have the nipple, but like it's mostly plastic. Like a man given plastic tits doesn't feel anything. You can't feel the plastic. You can't add nerve tissue to plastic. Like you can't. Like you can't, there's no technology to allow us to feel plastic in our brain. Like there's no connectivity there. That's the problem. And people get upset with me when I say, like, yeah, it's a flawed system. I want these people to get better treatment. And people are like, oh no, the treatment's fine. It's like, how? Like, plastic surgery isn't prescribed en masse. Like, you're causing these people to have, like, erectile dysfunction, like lack of sexual satisfaction. Like, you're basically sexually castrating them. And I'm not talking about like reproductively wise. I'm talking about like these people can never have sex again. Basically, like a lot of these people will never be sexually satisfied once they have these surgeries. And people always say like, oh, it's like a 50% success chance, 60%, 70%. I don't care if it's one fucking person in a million that has this surgery. It should be 0. In an ideal world, it'd be 0. In an ideal world, you wouldn't be having these sorts of treatments that can lead to any sort of problems. Like, based on what I've read, and from both sides, and that's the thing, is that when it comes to statistics, the best thing you can do, unless you do the tests yourself, unless you do the research, like, and I'm not talking about using other people's research, I'm talking about like you do your own studies. Unless you do your own study, that you can prove that there wasn't any like objective, any agenda. Like, it's usually somewhere in the middle. You take the two extremes and you even it out. And on one side, you have the actual transforms that are saying it's like 90% failure rate. And then you have people that say on the other side that's like a 10% failure rate. And I'm like, well, it must be around like a 50%, 40% like failure rate. Because like if both extremes are completely like fucking, if both groups are lying, well, you gotta meet in the middle, because otherwise you can't really estimate. But yeah, like that, it always bothers me because like, you know that both sides aren't necessarily doing the right thing, because otherwise their results would be similar. Their results wouldn't be, one or both sides is doing something wrong. And knowing humanity, I assume both sides are doing something stupid. It's how it's how this shit's always worked in the past. Is that if there's not a consensus, usually everybody's lying to each other. And it's horrible. There shouldn't be any lies in the medical field at all. But like, that always bothers me. It always bothers me because I know that like people are going to go into this. They're not going to be told the side effects. They're not going to be told the failure rate. They're like, you know what happens to people when they have heart surgery? They are told that there is a chance you die on the operating table. I don't think a single trans person is told that there's a chance that they will never have sex again. That they will never feel that is their actual genitals. That their body will reject the surgery. And that they might be on medication for the rest of their life because of it. It's a surgery. Like, you can't deny that it's a surgery. It's a surgery on a delicate area. It's the fucking genital area. Like it is on both male and women. The chest and crotch area is erogenous. It's an erogenous zone. Like you can't, like it's the same thing with like prostate removal. It's an erogenous zone. Like you can lose sexual satisfaction if you have your prostate removed because you have prostate cancer. And I believe that they should be told, but they're not because there's an agenda. Because people make money off of this shit. And it's horrifying, and I hate it. I hate it because I'm treated like I'm the bad guy. I'm treated like anybody in the middle is treated so bad. Because the thing is if you're on one side or the other, you at least have the support group. You at least have a support group of people that'll fucking listen to you. But if you're someone like me who upsets everybody because they have like an unpopular opinion that neither side wants to acknowledge, like people that want to compromise, that want to meet in the middle, are always hated. They always have been. Because any political activist wants to win. Everybody wants to win. Nobody cares about middle grounds. Everybody wants to be victorious. But the thing is that you can't win in life. The only way to win in life is to do the best you can. But the best you can is somewhere in the middle, not in the extremes. If you want to live in the extremes, you could just move countries. In an actual democracy, people are going to meet in the middle because diverse people come to diverse conclusions. People who think that if they have an extreme opinion, they can get it legislated and it'll stay for long periods of time are fucking stupid. Like, it's just how it is. And it saddens me because we should be better. Which results in me, becoming more unhinged as hours go by when I was on Twitter. To be fair, I'm always kind of a little bit unhinged. But hey, at least I have hope. Like I said, I actually have hope for once in the. And what I really hope, and this is why this opinion is what makes me feel like I shouldn't be treated like shit so often by both sides, is that, well, not both sides, but the side that actually cares about these people, that it should meet somewhere in the middle. That I'm hoping that, at least in Canada, the trans movement will get back to like a more sane degree where, adults can do whatever the fuck they want with like proper checks and balances. Like, it shouldn't be free. I don't believe it should be free. It's very expensive. The government cannot afford. The government cannot afford people being on lifelong medicine for. Like, if it's not a mental illness, if it's not an illness at all, if it is just ideology, the government should not have to pay for ideology or ideological treatments. Like, if it needs to be treated, it should be an illness. Like, nobody when somebody says they don't like that they have small breasts, having small breasts is not a medical condition that needs to be treated. Nobody has that opinion. Being ugly isn't something that you need medical treatment for because it's not a medical illness. You don't need the treatment, it's optional. That's why I hate that it became not a mental illness. It's like, if it's not an illness, if it's not a disability, why are we treating it? Why do you need help if there's not something wrong with you. If there's something wrong with you and that needs to be treated, we call those illnesses. It's because it's harder. It's because it's harder to revolutionize. It's hard to push a movement around. It's hard to push a movement around a mental illness. Like nobody's doing this for like autistic people. Nobody's doing this for people with ADHD. It has fanatics. This is the reason it works. It has fanatics, and it's no longer classified as a mental illness. And you might say, well, oh, it's being gay a mental illness. It's like, no, but you don't treat being gay either. Gay people don't need treatment. That's why it's not an illness, because you don't treat it. I consider it abnormal. It's abnormal because how is not having a desire to have kids normal? Like I don't mind if you're sexually attracted, whoever the fuck you please. But it's abnormal to lack a desire to reproduce. There are plenty of gay people that got a wife and kids in the past. Like especially like whenever people bring up the animal example, it's like, well, yeah, but those animals also like reproduced. Most of those animals reproduce. That's why it's in the gene pool, or the behaviors in the it is even possible. Like I'm not saying it's genetic in terms of the ability to be attracted to. Like, how do I explain this? It's hard. It's not. Humans in general are predisposed to being able to be attracted to any other human being. I'm a man. I'm not sexually interested in men, but I'm attracted to men. Men that are attractive are attractive. Like, people, there's the question of like, hey, if you were gay, what man would you fuck? And like, I don't have an issue answering that. Like if I was interested in men, like, there's people like, oh my god, I forgot his name. He's the guy who played Dexter in the TV show, The Serial Killer. The actor that plays that role, he's damn hot. Like, we're predisposed to be attracted to each other. We're not predisposed to who we want to have sex with. That's a personal thing. But our ability to be attracted to each other is genetic. Our ability to feel attraction at all is genetic, is what I'm saying. Who you're attracted to depends on you. Depends on your circumstances. Depends on how you grew up. It depends on like all kinds of factors. And there's people that say it's nature. It's like, the human duality is that like we are both born a certain way and we become a certain way as we get older. And those two things combine later in life when our personalities solidify. It's always been there. It's always been how it works. I literally don't care. I thought there was treasure around here. Yeah, I'm leaving. This was better than dying. Yeah, I don't care. I don't need to kill him. I already have the unlock for killing him. Or not killing him. I already have the unlock for that entire quest line. I don't even know why I wasted my time on it. But yeah, like it's just simple. Like being gay isn't something you treat. Feeling that you're not who you want to be in your body is treated, and it's. Yeah, I'm evading this. I don't care. Excuse me. You have the mod, so I don't have to worry about people on the map. It's just tedium. I don't want to have to waste my time trying to figure out how to navigate around them, because I'm lazy. So yeah, I got the mod just so I can do that. Like I'll eventually fight them. Like I don't mind. There's plenty of people that hate when I fight those. But but yeah, like the the government shouldn't be paying you for that. Like we shouldn't have to correct. People shouldn't have to pay. Like the taxpayers shouldn't have to make it so you feel better about yourself if you don't have a mental illness. That's the thing, is that if it's not a mental illness, why are we making you feel better? Like there's plenty of things that people could buy, and I'm not talking about like antidepressants or anything. There's plenty of things that people could buy that would make them happier. I identify as being, a handsome 6 foot tall man. Nobody's paying for me to have surgery for it. Or like I'm depressed. Like I'm depressed. I would feel happier if I was 6 feet tall and handsome. Nobody's fucking paying for that. There are people like being morbidly obese though. People can be people can be like it can the taxpayer can pay for you getting liposuction. But the thing is, being obese is actually like a real health risk that people actually consider to be legitimate. It's the thing is like, yeah, there's examples of both situations. But like, to be honest, do you think that you want to be paying for people to get liposuction that are just gonna get fat again? Like, it's one thing for a person that like is depressed, grew up fat because of like circumstances. How do you get fat off of circumstances? Now I say that. It's one thing that like stress eat, like I stress eat, but it's like, how can you blame your circumstances for gaining weight? But but the thing is that obesity is considered an illness, like an actual illness. Like people identify that is a health risk, that is a real illness, and it should be treated for. And certain parts of the world, you can actually, well, actually no, it's not universal. That's the funny thing. It's not universal. Even in Canada, it's my grandmother had to leave the country to get a gastric bypass or whatever it is, that to get her a belly balloon or whatever, shrink her stomach. I don't like that. Like I'm obese. I don't think anybody should have to pay for me to get skinny. I don't think that should be fair. I don't think that's fair. It's one thing if I was dying, but like I'm physically fit. Like people might say like, oh, you're like 100 pounds obese, 100 pounds overweight. You're clinically obese. So that doesn't mean I'm physically incapable. I'm capable of like walking 6 miles a day and then continuing as if nothing happened. Like I can exercise. I can lose my own weight. I'm not good at it. I got like sensitive airways. Like it's borderline asthma. I haven't been tested for asthma since I was a little kid, and I don't even think they actually verified if I did have it. Um, I was prescribed an inhaler when I was younger just to help my airways. Like I still do have the inhaler, so the prescription is still good. Um, but yeah, that shouldn't, like nobody should have to pay for me getting skinny. Nobody should have to pay for me getting surgery to feel better about myself. Like it's a double standard. And like who's paying for this? And I'm not talking about like the taxpayer money. I'm like, people don't get that much taxes. Like where are we getting all this? Where are we printing this money to afford all these surgeries? We're not. It's money laundering, and in actuality, it's all money laundering. The reason that countries are in so much fucking debt is only slightly because that they overspend. It's actually the reason that they overspend 9 times out of 10 is either money laundering or like political overreach. Like, people like anybody who wants to stay in power will be like, well, so what if I increase the debt by like 10 trillion? And as long as I'm in power for an extra 4 years, like, fuck it, it's a small price to pay. And then these people and then once they get out of office, they end up like owning like multi-million dollar mansions. And you're like, where the fuck did this money come from? That's why I say it's money laundering. They're basically using money to stay in power to make their own money. It's evil. Because that's the funny thing, is that like most people can be bought. Most people can. People like me, well, I don't know if I can be. The thing is that I'd have to be offered money to be bought. And if I was offered money, I would have to make an actual decision. Like I consider myself a pretty decent person. I think I could be bought. I think if you gave me enough money that my family would never have to live in poverty for several generations, the entirety of it. I mean, you gave me several $1 trillion, I'd probably do whatever the fuck you wanted. Assuming that money was actually worth anything by the time I got it. Because I'm stupid, but I'm not that stupid. So I'm thinking of where I want to go, because I can go to the Old Forest. The thing is that once I go to a place, I'm gonna start worrying about Dark Crypts, I believe it's called. Dark Crypt. I won't bother to go to Godfeaster because I don't even think that gives you anything. I think Godfeaster for me is mostly just something I want to do on Insane, just to say that I did it. I want to win the game after going to Dark Feaster and Dark Feaster and God Crypt. Yeah, no, Dark Crypt and God Feaster. Just because people said I couldn't do it, and I'm a spiteful bastard. That's another reason why I want to beat this game on Insane with at least once or twice before I take a break from it. Like I take a real break from it, where I don't play it until like DLC comes out. Because I love the game. I love the game. I just don't like the idea of burnout on it. Yeah, I'm thinking if I want to go the tier 2 areas. Sorry, I'm trying to think. I need to shut up to think. It's the problem. I either need to go to here. Actually, Dakar is a little bit easier than the 4. It depends. It honestly depends what variant it is. Let me check, though. Oh, of course, it's the guy's not going to give me any time to actually see if I want to be on this version of the mountains. I just have to do this. But yeah, I think I could be bought. It depends. I wish I could say the opposite, but like, I'm not a liar. I don't like lying. I think it would depend on circumstances, and I think I'd have to ask family members' opinions and go from there. Aside from that, like, I'm entirely sure. But no, like I said earlier, there's a woman, a female politician, and people say like, oh, like why do you care that she's a woman? It's like, it's not that she's a woman. It's that she deserves credit. Like, she's a credit, like if I just said a person did it, like it just feels weird. That her gender matters only in the sense of like it's just part of her identity. I imagine. Like, I don't know her personally, obviously. Well, like if it's treat others. It's the golden rule. Treat others the way that you want to be treated. If somebody was talking about me, I'd like if they referred to me as a man. Like, I feel like it would be weird if they said like, Yeah, that. Like, I feel like it'd be very weird and awkward. That was the wrong direction. And then people like quote me because I've said on stream before that like, oh yeah, when if somebody said that they wanted to be known by like Zur or something or Zist or whatever the fuck weird shit, like if you do not identify as female or male, I am not learning new words to speak to you. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I honestly could not care less. You could pick from the two you want me to identify you as. Well, like I call everybody dude. Like I call my sister a dude. Because I don't attribute gender to the phrase. It's just a familial thing. Or a familiarity thing, I should say. It's a term of endearment to me.